Guys, we're gonna be doing something a little bit different. I really loved the jQuery course, and it makes me want to get more involved in web development. So I didn't order. I went to a bookstore when I was visiting my brother in Portland at some bookstore called Pals, or I don't remember. But I did basically their first introductory lab, and so I really like this book. It's only 250 pages. It's all in color. The pages are real nice. And that's kind of why I got it. I don't want a 700-page book. So it's called Applied jQuery Development and Design by Jay Blanchard, if you're interested in going along with me. But what we're basically going to do is create a Hello World app that also uses a click event that adds some text, basically. It's going to say hello again, and once we have a third or fourth one, we're going to be able to do that. I'm using Eclipse to do this, and the way we're going to test it in the browser is simply by having our file path. So make sure you have the correct file path to where your HTML file is to test it. There's ways of setting it up in the browser, but that'll be for a different video. So if you're unfamiliar with Eclipse, the way you're going to want to do is go File, New JavaScript Project. You're going to want to name your project, and then just click Finish, and then you're going to want to add your files. So you could do it this way, go to Other, and then Web HTML file, and go File, New JavaScript source file, and then for CSS, you just go New File, and then .css. So as you can see, we don't have any CSS, and we don't have any JavaScript. All we have is our basic Hello World here. Hello World jQuery style is the title. That's basically the title of the page. You can see up at the top here. What we also have here are telling it what scripts to run. So this is a text in JavaScript, and this is a link to the jQuery library that we're using. There's other links for a bigger library, but this one should do just fine. And then this is our link. This is our script link to the right here. There's nothing in it, but we need that for it to work. And then this is just our link to the style sheet. So now that we're all on the same page, there's a couple things what we're going to do. We're going to have two divs and a span, and they're each going to have a different point. So try to remember back. We're going to name this first div. We're going to do pound first. Just first, excuse me. And the goal here is to write as little code as we can in this div. So what do we want our first div to do? In our script.js, we need to get our document ready. Else nothing's going to work. So try and remember, if not, just follow along. We have document.ready. And I've already completed this, so it's kind of a little bit easier for me, but I'm also looking at my notes as I go along, so I'll try to do this quickly and explain as we go along. So this function is basically just saying, hey, do some stuff in here, and you're gonna have to initialize that. So we haven't done anything. So what do we first want to do? We want to actually just have it write something to the div. So we need to select the div first, and we want to say .append. We're saying in here, do some stuff. Just to show you, remind you that you can actually put HTML elements in here. We'll put hello world. We'll do world capitalized from the YouTube. And don't forget, you have to close it like you would any other thing. So we have first. There's our first appending. So let's go ahead, and you can see we don't have anything here. When we refresh it, hello world from the YouTube. Maybe not the best grammar, but hey. Let's throw an exclamation point on that. So it seems to be working. It's always good to do a quick test, see what's going on here. So what do we want to do next? We want to create a link. So we're going to be doing a second div. And actually, we don't need to do that. Let's do this first. So we want to create a link. And we're going to just say click me. We want it to be intuitive. We're going to say ahref equals. And this, we don't want to actually leave the page, so just put an ampersand or a pound sign or a hashtag, as the youngins like to call it nowadays. And we're just going to name that link. You can name it whatever you want. And it's going to say click me, exclamation point. Okay, so our HTML is going good. Now check our work one more time. Should have click me. There it is. Perfect. Everything's looking good. And what do we want to do with this? We want it to print something out. So we are going to select that link, but because we're calling an event handler on it, like a .click, and we wanted to do something, it needs to be a function as well. So we're going to go exactly like our document.ready, except it's with our link. And we're saying when you click me, it's going to run a function that we're going to define right now. Don't forget your semicolons. So in here, we want it to do some things. So what do we want it to do? First thing we want to do is have something called greeting. We're going to create another div. Actually, we'll use a span here. So that's what I did last time. So we'll create a span, and we'll give it an ID of hello. So hello again. So this is our span ID, hello again. So in here, we're going to say select our span, which is pound hello. Pound hello again. And what do we want to do? We want to append the hello again. Basically, we just want it to say hello again one more. For every time it hits it, we want it to say hello again one more time. So hello, comma, again. That's it. That's all we want to do right now. So let's go ahead and make sure we save. Let's make sure everything's working. Click me and oops. So something broke. So let's look at our code. And we also wanted to make these an H1 element as well. /H1. So what did we do? We clicked our link. We selected the link on the function. Said pound. I think we may, let's try, this is how they did it in the book and see if this has any effect. So I think perhaps we might need a place to put our span. I'm not 100% sure, but let's just roll with it for now. Like all things, it's, sometimes you got to, test it out. Alright, so that's what's going on there. So you can see right there, we can infinitely add it, and when we refresh, it should go back. So the span can't be by itself, is what it looks like. So everything's working properly so far. So what else do we want to do? We don't want it to add infinitely. And so we're going to use a little bit of logic, but before we do that, why don't we style it a bit, just to see what we're working with. So far we have H1s and we have A tags and we have an HTML. So let's just give the whole document, so HTML, and we'll just give it a background color of black. So background dash color and black. Alright, and what else do we want to do? Let's change we can change our anchor tag to be a little bit small compared to everything else. So we'll give it we'll say font dash size, we'll say 35px. And which is probably around what H1 is. And then why don't we change, because we're getting the background to color, we'll we'll do H1, and then we'll do color red. So save that. Let's see if our code's working nicely. Refresh. Okay, so it's not working. Why isn't it working? Alright, so we have this named improperly. Let's see if it works now. There we go. So you can see it's working. It's looking a little bit cleaner. We have a different background color. We're not going for professional. We're just messing around with things. So we don't want it to go on forever. So let's use a simple count. So when we start this function, we want to create a count variable, and we're going to send count equal to 0, because when you load the page, you haven't clicked anything in, and that's what we're keeping track of. How many times have you clicked? So there's a couple things we could do. We can do if count is less than, let's just say 3. 3 times is probably enough to say hello, because you're going to say hello once, and then you're going to say hello again twice. We want to run this loop. And then if we just want to say one last thing, like if count is equal to 3, we just want to print one more thing that says it's just going to say something different, like, what did I put last time? I put hello 3 times is enough. Alright. So let's save that, and it looks like we are done with what we came to do. So click me hello again, hello again, hello again, hello again. Oh, so our code isn't working. Oh, and the reason because is we didn't increase count each time this happens. So what we want to do is say count plus plus, and that should do it just fine. Actually, this is easier for people to understand. We aren't familiar with coding, so we'll do count plus 1. So count is equal to count plus 1. So let's go back to our browser, refresh it. Bam, bam, and then hello 3 times. Oh. So we have an error here. So there's a couple things we can do. The easiest is probably just to increment count again one last time, but we want to do it right here, and that should kill it. So oops. So now we put the where we counted it there. So now it works fine. And we refresh it, it goes again. So we did a little bit of CSS, we did a little bit of HTML, and we basically created our first jQuery dynamic web app. So it wasn't too bad. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, the lab is basically, this is just a little bit souped up from the Hello World they did. I added this last part here, and I'll be doing the labs and the jQuery as we go along, and they're going to be getting harder and harder. So this is the introductory one. The code will be on my GitHub, and as always, questions, comments, concerns, and anything else is appreciated. And if you go to my website, I'll actually have a quick lab write-up for this, and the link will be down below. And that way, if you don't want to watch, if you want to have like a checklist of what you can do, this is a good thing to do as well. Alright, but anyhow guys, thanks for watching, and I appreciate the support.